Welcome to the Country Hipster Podcast. My name is Paul. I am the Country Hipster. That music you just heard was none other than the Unholy Four and their mega fucking hit song, Dirty Knife. Go check out the Unholy Four on Bandcamp, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you can find the Unholy Four. Podcast-specific promo code is LOVE for February. All February. We're in February.
We are in February.
All February.
Forgot we hopped in the DeLorean there.
There you go. If you use promo code LOVE at checkout at OttsvilleRecordGarage.com, you will receive 15% off of your entire order. No Adam this week, but we've talked about that before. But this is our last listeners pick. And as you are the representative of the listeners, since 4 of them are yours. And then also our Gen Z prospector. Welcome back, Megan, to the podcast. How you doing?
Thank you. Oh, spectacular.
Spectacular. Good. So, Megan, we're getting pretty, we're getting pretty close to the end here, but like more importantly, we're getting pretty close to March.
We are.
Yes. What are you doing in March?
What am I doing in March? I have a handful of dates on the calendar with Birmingham 6.
I'm sorry, the who?
The Birmingham 6.
I'm sorry, you didn't say that right.
What?
I'm sorry, how do you say it? I believe it's the motherfucking Birmingham 6.
Excuse me.
That's right, kids. Go ahead. Say it right.
We discussed this. I said I was going to paraphrase.
You did.
The children are now listening to
Well,
this.
that's okay. They need to learn things as young adults. They need to learn that certain words are said, like motherfucker.
And I will not be the one to teach them that. It's not part of the job description.
It's all good. So what are you up to in March besides playing with the what are they called again?
The Birmingham 6. Yes, that's
pretty sure.
That's what you're listed on Spotify.
Oh,
so
wow,
we're gonna go with that one.
Okay, all right, cool.
You are on Spotify as well as the official end credits song of the Country Hipster Podcast.
That is true. That is true. Okay. All right.
As well. We are in February. As we are sitting here recording this, it's December, and calendar is in all manner of flux at the moment. Mm-hmm. But definitely have some dates with Birmingham 6. Super excited to spend St. Patty's season with you guys. I think It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It'll be a lot of fun. It will be a good time. So check out Birmingham 6. Check out our Instagram. Check out our Facebook. I would say go to birmingham6.com, but we don't update it. I don't think anybody updates websites anymore. Like for band websites, it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? It's just like,
no,
whatever.
I know natterjacks.com exists, but I don't think anything ever got put on it except the general bio.
There you go. Yeah, it's just kind of like, whatever. But yeah, if you check out Birmingham 6, check us out on Facebook and Instagram. That's probably the best place to find out the shows and where Megan's going to be. That's the important part, is to go see where Megan's going to be in the month of March. All right. So we are here to talk about an album. Like I said, this is the 10th album for the listeners, and it is the last listener's pick. Excuse me, real quick, before we get into it, I'll say number 1, the album is Newfound Glory, From the Screen to Your Stereo Part 2. And also for season 3, I want to do as many listener picks as possible for season 3 when we eventually get around to starting season 3. There is going to be a layoff between season 2 and season 3. It's just how it's going to be. And then of course some changes to the podcast in general, because we have to evolve. You always have to evolve when you're doing this stuff, right? Evolution, it's like a thing.
It is a thing. I taught a whole class about it last year. There you
go. Did you go to jail and have Langston Hughes like write a play about you teaching that class? No?
No, I got handed a curriculum and said, hey, the teacher who usually does this is on sabbatical. Can you do that now?
So you did not?
Sure, I guess. Well, I got handed PowerPoints and said, great, you teach this now. Have fun.
I guess in a way you did inherit the wind.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know. It's fine. Okay. I don't even know if our listeners will get that reference either.
Okay.
It's a Langston Hughes play about the trials of a teacher teaching evolution. It's based on a true story.
Oh, I'm aware of the court case. I didn't know there was a play. I forget you're a theater nerd.
Yes, I am. I am sometimes. So at any rate, listeners, go ahead, drop what you want us to cover in season 3. So the more listener picks we have, the more listener records we're going to do. So I want to make season 3 very listener centric. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that way it's all more about the listeners and what you want to hear. And we're probably going to shit on your records. I'm not going to lie, because if they're anything like the stuff that Megan's picked, we're probably going to shit on your records.
Rude.
But it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Sometimes we find ones we like. I like the Strokes, and that was a listener pick. So yeah. So there you go. All right, Megan, hit us with the factoids of this album, New Found Glory, From the Screen to Your Stereo Part 2.
Well, unfortunately, this is another album that don't have a whole lot of factoids.
I noticed that, yes.
Yeah. So From the Screen to Your Stereo Part 2 was released on September 18th of 2007. It is all covers from motion picture soundtracks. It's the follow-up to the 2000 release From the Screen to Your Stereo, and it was followed in 2019 by From the Screen to Your Stereo Part 3. Originally, it was made streamable through the band's MySpace page on September 14th of the release year, and then the record was released 4 days afterwards. They had one single, which was Kiss Me, and throughout the record, they have a smattering of guest appearances by singers from other bands, including Max Bemis from Say Anything was on Crazy For You.
Friend of the podcast, Say Anything.
Oh, yes, friend of the podcast. Adam Lazzara from friend of the podcast, Taking Back Sunday, was on Loveful.
There you go.
Lisa Loeb, who originally recorded Stay, was on the recording of Stay. Chris Carrabba from Dashboard Confessional was on The Promise. Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy was on King of Wishful Thinking. Will Pugh from Cartel was on Iris. Sherry Dupree from Isley was on It Ain't Me, Babe. And one of her relatives, Stacey Dupree, also from Isley, was on Loveful as well.
Oh, the Duprees.
Sure.
I'm being an asshole.
I don't know. There's like a whole... I looked them up. There's a whole family of them that are in this band called Isley, which is named for Mos Eisley from Star Wars.
Oh, okay, cool. I can respect that.
Yeah, I thought it was... I didn't read too much into them. It was really just a, like, where are you from? All right, cool. Oh, you're in the same band. Oh, you're related. Oh, there's like 5 of you that are related and are all in the same band. I'll probably mean to look that up later and then forget about it.
Is it maybe a cult? Could they be a cult? Family band, cult? Kind of like Partridge Family? Come on, get happy.
So I know the concept of the Partridge Family, except that they're a... What? They're a cult?
No, I'm just turning them into a cult just to throw you off. Because I know you're Gen Z and you don't know any of this stuff. So it's like fun just like kind of like throwing this shit at you and, you kind of take it as as fact.
I know some things.
It's pretty good. Okay,
I'm glad you're entertained by this.
Hey, I'm entertained. I don't know. I hope your students are too.
Jesus. Well, considering that this is an entire soundtrack of covers from movie music, if after this episode releases, if you come up to me and list 2 of the movies that were covered on this album, I will give you merits for that.
Ooh, there you go.
For our student listeners.
There you go. And if you get Ms. Glance, did I call you Miss Glance?
Yeah.
Okay, if you get her to say the real name of the Birmingham 6 in class, I will give you $50.
Absolutely not. I would like to keep my job, thank you.
$50 to the person who gets her to say it. She's got to say it right.
Nope. Nope. You might get me after you graduate and not in the middle of class, but nope.
Only counts if it's in class. And it might be in the form of a gift certificate to the Outsville Record Garage.
Of course.
But anyway, go on. I digress.
That was actually the end of the factoids.
Oh, okay.
That was it. That was all I could find.
Nice. All right. So, Megan, as the representative of the listeners' picks, I have to ask you, why have you chosen 3 bad albums and 1 okay album?
Well, welcome to another album where I picked based on the fact that I like 3 of the songs that are on the album.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a solid reason to pick the album.
So when I started listening to New Found Glory in the same era that I started listening to Goo Goo Dolls, because it was in my dad's general shuffle of I'm driving you home from dance class and I'm playing what I feel like playing and you're going to deal with it.
Okay.
And I ended up liking that music. So in his repertoire were The Promise, King of Wishful Thinking, and Don't You Forget About Me. So I just assumed that those songs were by New Found Glory until I was 16 and watched The Breakfast Club for the first time.
Okay.
And then realized, oh, that's a cover.
Yes.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And
a poor one at that.
At some point, I heard The Promise on the radio, and it was not the New Found Glory one. I don't even know who does that original. I don't know who does the original version of most of these. And same thing with King of Wishful Thinking.
Mm-hmm. So King of Wishful Thinking is funny. I actually thought it was, it's a band called Go West, which I found out when I looked this up. I thought it was Howard Jones. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh no, it is Go West. If you listen to the song, it could very easily fit into Howard Jones's repertoire, but like I was like, oh no, it's definitely, you know what I mean. I was like, okay, no, it's not Howard Jones, you know what I mean. But yeah, so that's actually who I originally when just going through the album first time, I'm like, oh cool, they cover Howard Jones on this, and I'm sitting there thinking like, what movie was this song in? And that's what I looked up. I'm like, oh, this is Go West, this is not Howard Jones. So yes, but yes,
yeah, it was really picked based on the nostalgia factor, and that I liked those 3 songs, and I'm sure the rest of them are probably also going to be good.
Okay,
so sure, let's listen to the whole thing.
All right, so of the 4 albums that you've picked, right? So you did, we're doing this one, New Found Glory, from the Screen to the Stereo Part 2. The 1975 was yours, right? Green Day, American Idiot, and then what was your 4th one?
Sunday at Foxwoods.
Oh yeah, that horrible album. Yes, Boys Likes Girls, Sunday at Foxwoods. So bad I forgot about it.
Wow.
So of those 4, like which one would you say is your favorite album?
Of the 4, I would put Sunday at Foxwoods first.
Okay.
And American Idiot a very, very close second.
Okay. All right. Cool. There you go.
I mean, go back to the other 2 episodes for like all of the details, but just like the experiences that I had with listening to both of those.
Right. Okay, cool.
They would be in my top 25 overall.
That's fair. So, okay, so you picked this based on a couple songs that, you'd heard as like a younger child, and, just understandable. I get that. So listening to the whole album, like, what's your feelings?
Overall, I think they're cool covers. I mean, we talked about this at a couple of gigs, that I personally struggle with covering things in a different style than they're originally recorded, because it just doesn't feel right to me. Like if I were to cover Las Vegas in the Hills of Donegal, like most of the Irish bands around here play, I struggle with not playing the traditional bit at the end, because I grew up listening to it recorded by Blackthorn with the traditional bit at the end. And anything that doesn't have that's like, oh, something's missing here, and they didn't play that part, and now it sounds weird.
Okay.
Because it's just not what I'm used to.
Right.
But at the same time, it's really cool when other people do it and they do it really well.
Right.
So this came out in 2007, which was around the same time that they were putting out those Pop Goes Punk albums, where.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. And were the Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, were they around at that point?
They were.
They were.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, they were also in the shuffle of their version of the Cheers theme song.
Okay.
Was in my dad's playlist.
All right.
So I like the Pop Goes Punk albums. There's newer bands like Peyton Parrish and Our Last Night that are all over Instagram and TikTok that do the same general concept. They take stuff and they make it more like a Peyton Parrish does more like a dark, like his range just goes really, really low.
Okay.
It's really cool sounding. Our Last Night kind of turns it into more like a screamo kind of a vibe. Even like the Disney Mania albums, where they'd have like all their Disney Channel stars would cover the animated movie soundtracks.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, I thought those were cool too. And like they put out another one recently, that Boys Like Girls is on it, and I think New Found Glory is actually on it too.
I won't be getting that.
But what if I push the little notify me button on the Huntsville Record Garage?
Well, no, I'm saying I'll buy it. I'll get it in stock for you to buy it, but I'm not listening to that album.
But I also came across a piece of an interview recently that Dirty Little Secret by All American Rejects was originally supposed to be a country song.
Yeah, I can kind of see that with the words. Yeah.
And so it was a little snippet of the interview that explained, like, hey, this was originally supposed to be a country song, and like this is like the little bounce that the riff was supposed to have. And then this duo covered it in more of a country style, and it was really interesting to hear, like, oh, that's not bad either.
Yeah, just thinking of the words, I could definitely see, like, you know, how it could, you know what I mean, cross over from like what Dirty Little Secret is to you know, to that. It's not a bad song. It's not a bad song. I'm not a big All American Rejects fan, but that's not a bad song. They're the ones that I like give you hell song to. Yeah, it's a good song too. I like the idea of that song. Yeah.
That's a good one. There's, I mean, I could cite a handful of other examples as well, but just the concept of taking something that's already recorded, and if you have an interesting different way to interpret it, and the recording comes out good, then I'm interested in hearing it. I might not like it, but I'll at least entertain the idea.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so when it comes to like cover songs, I mean, obviously I play a lot of cover songs, you know, and we play them together as well.
It's kind of the basis of my side employment.
Yeah, right. And like I'm of the feeling, so I got two feelings about it. Number one, more so with Birmingham 6, like if we're gonna do something, especially if it's like you know, a song that other people are doing, whether it be traditional or you know, like you know, like a Pogue song or Flog of Maui song. Well, see that depends. So like if it's something like Flog of Maui, I try to do it as close to Flog of Maui as possible.
With something like that, I feel like people are expecting to hear everything go a certain way.
But like especially with like the traditional stuff, like I generally try to put like my own sort of swing on it, you know what I mean, rather than do it like, okay, this is how this band does it, or this is how everybody's doing, you know what I mean? I try to change it, and it could just be like subtle things, like the way it's sounded. Like perfect example would be our cover of Fisherman's Blues by originally by the Waterboys. The first band locally that I heard doing it was a friend of the podcast, Bob Hurst, his band, the Bogside Rogues. They were doing it, and you know, when I started Birmingham 6, I'm like, oh, I want to do that song. But if you listen to the way the Bogside Rogues do it and how Tim Murphy sings it, I sing it completely differently.
Yes,
you know, because I didn't want to do the Bogside Rogues version of the Waterboys song. I wanted to do the Birmingham 6 version of the Waterboys song. So, and if you were to listen to all three of those versions back to back, I don't think that any of the Bogside Rogues stuff is necessarily available streaming.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
I looked.
But if you listen to those three songs back to back, there are three very distinct versions of those songs, to the point where, and I am happy about this, is that we ended up playing it the first time we opened up for the Tossers and Continental, and I like literally just walked off the stage. I was walking to the back to put my guitar down or something, and you know, where all my friends were standing, and Rick Barton, friend of the podcast, Rick Barton, Continental, formerly Dropkick Murphy, stops me. He goes, man, that was a great version of a Fisherman's Blues. I was like, nice. Fuck yeah. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Great. You know what I mean? So that's how I kind of go, like, in regards to like doing cover stuff with the band. Now solo stuff, it's more like I'm playing the songs that I'm playing and the way I'm playing them, because I actually don't know any other way to do it. And it's like, I can't do that fancy guitar riff, or I can't do like, you know, like however, so I'm going to do it the way that like I think it makes sense. You know what I mean?
I think with a solo or a duo, like you have so much more wiggle room with that. Like there's no drums, there's no bass. Right. Obviously we're not going to sound like Flogging Molly. Right. Obviously we're not going to sound like Jimmy Eat World on the middle. Like there's...
Do we play that? We don't even play that. We should play that. It's easy.
I thought it was on the list.
It might be. We just may have never played it.
There's a very extensive
We have a very extensive list of songs that we have not played or learned. And every now and then when we get together to play, we're like, oh yeah, we should probably learn those. Happens all the time. Which actually is like I have a bone to pick with you about this album as well. Yes, you. We have that very extensive list. Yeah. Right? And I'm listening to this album, and this is before I, you know, obviously, it makes more sense since you said you've only knew really a handful of songs on the album. But I remember going to list, and one of the songs that I picked was It Ain't Me, Babe. It was originally written by Bob Dylan. A more famous version is done by Johnny Cash. It was originally Bob Dylan. Yeah, it was written by Bob Dylan.
Did he get paid for that one?
I'm sure he did.
Interesting. Because I heard that he wrote Wagon Wheel, but never made a dime off of it.
No.
He didn't record it.
No, I think he gets writing credits on it. Yeah, because they specifically gave him writing credits on it, so there wasn't an issue. He may not get publishing, he may not get performance or anything like that, but he definitely has writing credits on it. So Bob Dylan's definitely making money off of Wagon Wheel. But yeah, so it's the song is from the movie Walk the Line. Starring Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon. And that's on our list. And when I put that on there, I'm like, I think we could do this really well. And you're like, I never heard this song before. And it's on this fucking album.
Yeah. I actually like the version that's on this album.
Oh, God. It's a horrible version.
It is not.
It's a bad version. It's not a good version that's on this album. It's not good.
Wait. Lyrically, can I play that in class?
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't talk about like drinking or nothing?
No. You'd be able to play that in class.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
There's like veiled references to like fucking, but like they don't, it's like, you have to look into it a little bit. Like, the one line's like basically don't come in here because I'm not alone. You know what I mean? Like, you probably don't want to walk in right now. You know what I mean? So, but like I said, it's like, that's like the only thing. But otherwise, yeah, I think you could probably play that song in class. Sure. Kids, just go play it in class. And when it's done, you got to raise your hand and be like, Ms. Glantz, is that the song about fucking?
Better not. You better not.
But yeah, so that that did. I was like, damn it, Megan, I knew you knew the song, but apparently you didn't actually know the song.
No. So I might actually have to do that because I'm pretty sure some of these kids might be Gen Alpha.
I don't know what that means.
It's the one after me.
Oh, okay. All right. So you started over again? Went from Z to A?
Man, I don't know how any of this works. None of the letters are in order.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. But they'd be in like the 2009, 2010-ish range. Because they're like 15, 16.
Okay.
So we'd have another perspective.
There you go. I just finished my Yards Brewing Company, a local Philadelphia brewing company. Their Long John's winter lager. It's pretty good, 6% winter lager. Pretty smooth drinking, very nice. Probably on par with Sam Adams winter lager. I wouldn't say it's better or worse. You know what I mean? It's just, but it was pretty good. And I'm switching over to another local brewery, originally out of Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, Sly Fox Brewing Company, and their White Horse Wit. So that should be interesting. It's wit beer, I'm assuming, right? So horse wit. White Horse Wit delivers.
We don't have those at Naked Brewing Company, so I don't know what that means.
You do not. Perfumey citrus, coriander, and soft wheat malt. So that'll be good. Yeah, I generally like the
what are you doing?
wheat beers. I'm trying to open. My fingers hurt. I've been playing shows all weekend. My fingers. Well, actually, I wasn't playing. No. This is February. I'm on paternity leave. I have not played shows all weekend, but at one point I played shows all weekend, so my fingers hurt. So it happens. So but overall, I like the idea of this album. Especially taking like the different stuff from the soundtracks and but I think the execution is just poor on this. I don't really think it's a good execution, with the exception of two songs in particular and some stuff that's like, okay, this isn't bad. You know what I mean? I didn't mind their version of the Cardigans song. What was Love? What's it called? Love something? Loveful. I don't.
Who sings that originally?
The Cardigans originally do that. I don't mind their version of it. Did not realize that was in the Romeo and Juliet movie. Which
was it?
Yeah, the Leonardo DiCaprio, Claire Danes version.
Yikes.
But after like when someone like, oh yeah, no, now I do remember in that movie. That was a really weird version of Romeo and Juliet visually.
Yeah, that's the one that we watched freshman year after we read it in class.
Okay, all right, there you go.
Why we did, I don't know. I was just very, very lost.
Yeah, they were just trying to keep you because that's the thing. It's to the book. I mean, it's to the original book, but it's
all modern situations and modern costuming and all, but they're still speaking Shakespearean.
Yes.
And for our 15-year-old brains, I was just so very lost.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. I didn't mind the version. You know what I mean? Because I was already familiar with Romeo and Juliet in general. It's like, okay, cool. It's Shakespeare. I don't really mind Shakespeare. What I understand of it, you know, I think one of the things I like about Shakespeare and like seeing Shakespearean plays and stuff, even if I don't understand it, I enjoy the pace of Shakespearean literature and the plays. It's a very neat pace. You know, and it's worked in other things, like, you know, like you have like Moonlighting, the show Moonlighting, which had a Sybil Shepherd and Bruce Willis back in the day. It was very of that pace. Gilmore Girls was of that pace. You know what I mean? That type of, you know, the quick talking. I'm ambionic. It's not ambionic. I'm thinking this. Thank you. Iambic pentameter. Yes, thank you. Which even you know, I don't mind some of the things that have been taken from you know, Shakespeare, and then what's it called, and then like interpreted a different way. Like one of my favorite movies, and I'll flat out say I have no guilt in saying it, is 10 Things I Hate About You, and that's based off of The Taming of the Shrew. Oh. Which is a Shakespearean. I have
not read or seen either one.
And that's why, you know, she even asked when the teacher gives Julia Stiles that, you know, gives the class that thing about the, you know, the sonnet they have to write and whatnot. It's like a throwback to, hey, this is Shakespeare. That's why she asked. So do we do this in iambic pentameter or whatever? Oh. You know, and so another funny thing about that movie, now, you know, since we're talking about it, is during that scene where she skips and gets teary, that wasn't scripted. It just happened. Like as she was doing it, it was just a natural act, and they didn't stop. They just kept going and going, and it's a great scene. That's awesome. And she does a great, and her walking out as well. Again, not scripted. Like the whole thing, like they did it, and just that happened, and she just walked out, and they kept it in. I think that was pretty cool. And plus, like I got to visit a lot of the stuff in Tacoma, Washington, where, you know, the high school where it was filmed and all that, which is really cool. Which is a real working high school. It's pretty fucking crazy. Yeah, it's pretty great. Nice. It's pretty, and it's a lot smaller than it looks. So it's pretty cool. But I digress. I like the concept of this. I like I said, Love Fool's a good version. Iris is respectable.
Yeah, you know? I feel like it was missing something by not having like the orchestra strings involved in the instrumental parts.
Yeah,
but, like. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. Like I said, it's respectable. Like that's, you know what I mean? I don't love it, but I don't hate it. There was the one song I just wasn't familiar with at all. I think it's in French. It's from the movie Amelia. I
don't know what it's from.
Yeah,
but it was a better instrumental than I was expecting on this kind of an album.
Yeah, I just kind of like, all right, this is just, you know, whatever. Yeah. It doesn't make it onto my top 3 or bottom, you know, least, because it's just kind of like, okay, it was, I'm just not familiar with it. So. But I thought it was, you know, it was okay. And you know, the movies they picked, I think were pretty cool. You know, I one of the things that does bother me about this is why, and it goes back to like doing your own thing with something, because they do the song "Stay" by Lisa Loeb, and they do a shitty version of it, and then they have her singing on it. So it's like, dude, if you're going to do your own, and the reason it's shitty is because they tried to do their own thing with it, and it just doesn't work.
Oh, I thought that one was kind of cool.
Oh, no, it's fucking horrible. But like, you know, it's just like, well, why have her sing on it? You know what I mean? It's like, if you're going to do your own thing, why bring the original person back to do your own thing with it? You know what I mean?
I mean, probably for the same reason that movie reboots will have the original actors cameo in them.
Well, that's dumb too.
No, that's cool.
No, it's not.
No, it was the version of Ghostbusters that had the all-female.
I never saw that one, but I wait, did I see it? No, I did see that one, and I thought people shit on that because it was all women. To be honest with you,
they probably did.
You know what I mean? I didn't think, like, because I wouldn't say it was great. I didn't hate it.
I thought it was funny.
I was like, it's got funny parts. It is what it is. It's not, you know, it doesn't hold up to the original Ghostbusters, but you know, it's like a whole different thing. Yes. I didn't mind it. You know what I mean?
But they had the original guys make cameos throughout.
Did they?
It's like towards the end.
Okay.
Like when they're saving the day and whatnot. The original Ghostbusters.
Right.
were in different shots.
Well,
and like they had like a line or two, and it would be like, oh, cool, you were in the original and now you're here. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, even in the reboots of, you know what I mean, like the ones that have come out recently, like, you know, Dan Aykroyd's in it, Bill Murray's in them. You know, they brought the image of Ira Reitman back there. You know, and it did in the second one. I can't remember the actor's name. Basically, the black guy. They brought Winston back for the second one.
I don't remember what his name is either.
Yeah, I can't remember what the actor's name is, but he plays Winston. And you know, it was fine, but but they were kind of different movies. They were more like sequels than they were reboots or remakes or anything like that. But like, it's, you know, I don't need them in it. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do it, just do it. Do your own thing. Just go with it. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of look at it. It's like that's why I didn't see it, honestly, but like that's why I was kind of glad Rocky Balboa was written out of Creed 3. And the only reason I didn't see it is just because I never got around to seeing Creed 3.
I didn't see any of them. So okay. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, they're very good. They're very good. So at least the first two. I can't really speak of the third one, but I like the idea that they basically wrote him out of the third one and had you know, the kid doing his own thing. You know what I mean? It was kind of neat. The idea of it. Again, I still haven't seen the movie, so I don't know if it actually worked. But you know, that's just my thing. I think overall, there's just on this album, there's more misses than there are hits. You know what I mean? Like just with the stuff they're doing, like musically, you know, I will say that the rhythm section on this, drum and bass on this, is pretty spot on throughout. And they do a really good job. But just, you know, like there was just things about it, and I'll get into it when I get into my my top 3 and whatnot of like things I really like, the things I, you know, because I don't want to give anything away. Yeah. But I also don't understand that, like, when you have a band like New Found Glory, who's popular on their own and doing their thing and whatnot, why try to be me first in the gimme gimmes, even though like I know it was a thing then? Why? And if it's a thing then, okay, and you do a couple things here or there, or like maybe you want to, you know, you're on tour and you're playing the same shit over and over again, so you guys fuck around with something in sound check and we're like, hey, let's play that tonight, which is kind of where this kind of came from, right? For the most part, because like I believe like they were extensively touring, and then were doing a festival, doing the Reading Festival, I believe, and they all of a sudden just start playing Kiss Me, you know, live. You know, I'm sure they rehearsed it, but it was just kind of like, okay, cool, like, all right, yeah, I kind of get that. It's like, yeah, you've been on tour, you're doing the same thing over and over again. By the end of the tour, you want to do something a little bit different, or just some point just to kind of mix it up a little bit. It's like being at work doing the same thing all the time. Sometimes you want something different, you know. But so I get that, but like, why do not only one album, but why do fucking 3 of them? An EP, a full-length album, and then a third one, which please don't pick that for season 3. Oh God, you might be off the podcast.
Yeah, I honestly, I think because it was hold on.
Mm-hmm. Let me just say too, while you're looking up what you're looking up, that I'm also not really a fan of New Found Glory as it is anyway. You know,
gee, so, I'm so shocked.
Yeah, so even, you know, and I've tried listening to their stuff, and you know, and you know, I know like they've sold way more records than I have, but I've just never been a fan of New Found Glory or what they do. And you know, hey, good on them for doing it, especially as long as they've been doing it. But you know, it's not for me. It's not my cup of tea, so to speak. So yeah. What do you got? What do you got there?
So Me First and the Gimme Gimme started in 95.
Okay.
The first Punk Goes Pop album came out in 2002. Mm-hmm. And there were 7 total of them as of 2017. So I think it was just because that's what was loosely popular at the time.
I guess. So is Pop Goes Punk, is that different bands doing songs? Like, is it a compilation of different bands?
Yeah. So, like the first one that was released, it has 17 tracks, and you're not gonna know any. Somebody did a cover of something by Pink. Somebody did a Madonna. Okay. Somebody did Bye Bye Bye. But it's all like punk bands or emo bands covering things that would be considered pop.
But so I get being a part of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I do. I get that idea, but why do a whole album of your own when you already have a band who's very successful at doing other people's music in a punk way as their thing? Do you know what I mean? That's kind of like my whole thing. It's like, what do you know what I mean?
I don't know. Maybe they thought it'd be fun.
You don't need that many bands doing the same thing all around. That's why like generally when you look at major record labels, they have one Irish band on their major label, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? Because you don't need 5 or 10 of them doing, you know what I mean, that sort of sound. You know what I mean? But I mean, no, if you look at the major labels, they literally have like one Irish band, or you know what I mean, and that's it. You know what I mean? And then they have everything else they have, you know, and they was like, oh yeah, we'll put that Irish rock band on there. You know what I mean? So
interesting.
Unless you're Island Records, and everything's Irish because you know they're from Ireland. But but yeah, and I think that's my whole thing with this. Like, I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. It's just kind of like it's just an unnecessary album that just, in my opinion, has way more misses than hits. And the you know, I don't like the choices that they made on most of these songs, and I just you know, I could have gone without living that you know, how long's the album, like 38 minutes or something. Like I'd like to have that back, the you know, plus the 4 or 5 times I've listened to it, because I do give it its due. I want to make sure that like I'm not just listening to be like fuck, because I've also you know, we've had Fungus albums.
We have. You
know what I mean? So, and I was like, that's why I try to give it, if it's an opportunity to be a Fungus album, and this one is not. It's more like a fuck this album is more what I would call it.
I might have to make you listen to individual tracks from part 1.
Well, that's not going to be for the podcast. Well, that's for sure.
No, but on part 1 they covered "My Heart Will Go On."
Ugh. Yeah, that's horrible. That is so bad. That is so bad. I don't want to hear any covers of that. I don't want to hear the original of that. I didn't even like it in the Titanic movie. And I saw it in theaters. So.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. But no, I honestly, like, I think I've shit on this album enough. I mean, I have more shitting to do on it, but you know. Of course you did. So I don't know. Do you have anything else about this album?
Oh, part 3 is actually good.
Oh, you thought part 2 was actually good?
No, but part 3 is the Cup song from Pitch Perfect. This Is Me from Camp Rock. The Power of Love from Back to the Future. Let It Go from Frozen. Accidentally in Love from Shrek. 1,000 Years by Christina Perri that was in Twilight. And Eye of the Tiger.
No,
That's going to be entertaining.
You know what? No, this is. I might have to pull my namesake of the podcast status and just cut it off right from the beginning. I might just say like, no, we can't do that one.
Well, you know what? Maybe I'll throw it in a Gen Z video.
Oh, okay. There you go. You can do that. Content. You could do that. So, all right. So, anything else about this album?
I mean, you had all of your wonderful, lovely things to say about Loveful.
Mm-hmm.
We have some trauma.
We have drama or trauma? Trauma. Okay. What is the trauma?
Because I'm almost positive it was on a Journey's CD when I worked there.
Okay.
So it would play once every 4 hours.
No, that would make sense. It would definitely belong on like a mall shop.
No.
CD.
The original was on.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah, it was either on the CD or it was in a very, very overplayed commercial.
Yes,
at the time.
Probably that too.
Possibly both. Mm-hmm. And then the Newfound Glory version started coming up in my shuffle when I was listening to Boys Like Girls, Fall Out Boy, All American Rejects, etc. So I don't like the original because of the frequency with which I listened to it.
That's fair. Fair. I don't. You know.
I also don't like the cover, but I just don't like the song in general.
Okay.
Too many occurrences.
That's okay. That's all right. We're all entitled to our opinions, and I don't disagree with yours whatsoever. You know, I just think they do an okay job with them. Like, all right, cool, whatever. And I was never, like the Cardigans, like their version of it. I mean, they wrote the song, so It was okay. It was very 90s. You know what I mean? Definitely, mid to late 90s is definitely, fits in with that sound and that time. So it's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I get it. You know what I mean? But I wasn't an overall Cardigans fan. It was like a weird time when like you had you had the it was basically started by No Doubt. You had No Doubt come out, and then you had people started to seriously start to look at alternative rockers, specifically female fronted alternative rockers, as they always should be. But and I think it also was also on the coattails of like Mazzy Star as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you had the Cardigans, you had like Letters to Cleo, you had No Doubt, you had Belly was another one where where they had these female fronted alt mans, and and they got their due, and they don't get enough of their due, but definitely I think there was an effort at that time to like make it a thing, sort of, what I mean, sort of deal. Definitely a push in the mid to late 90s to do that, and so, but yeah, just in general, okay, yeah. So are you doing the transition, or am I?
Oh
yeah.
We're we know that our opinion doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Because the all-knowing power of the sweet baby angel upstairs, who I think is asleep now.
She's probably asleep now, and hopefully her little brother or sister is asleep now too, because this point, like I had mentioned on the last couple, exactly, on the last couple episodes, they do exist. Like they do, but they don't. Like we're, it depends on like if you're going by when we're filming or when we're airing. So, so the Regina factor, and I tried. I think where the Regina factor is going, because I tried to take a picture of Regina's expression while listening to this album. And Regina, every time she sees a camera, just starts posing. So like, no matter what she's doing,
adorable.
She is adorable. But like, I'm like, I go to take the picture. She sees I'm trying to take a picture. She's like, "Hey!" I'm like, that is not the face you were just making. But she dislikes this album. Definitely had a look on her face of just like uncomfortable disappointment. Very similar to the look she had on her face on the Glass Houses episode. So, and that was she was just kind of like, oh my god, turn this off already. And I did, and she was much happier when I did.
Did you put on hairspray?
I did not. I put on the Larry Berkner band, or Laurie Berkner band. Sorry. So the listeners' final tally on the Regina factor are 5 likes, 2 dislikes, and 3 indifference. If you wanted the Paul factor on the listeners' albums, it's probably like 1 like and 8 dislikes. Well, one like. Well, I'm sorry, 2 likes and 8 dislikes or whatever it would. I don't even know. I can't even fucking math right now. But my standing on the Regina factor is 8 likes, 1 dislike, and 1 indifferent. Adam is at 6 likes, 2 dislikes, and 1 indifferent, and Tom is at 5 likes and 2 indifference. So give me your top 3 of this album here.
Top 3 are my 3 that I grew up listening to, actually. The Promise, King of Wishful Thinking, and Don't You Forget About Me. But I did have honorable mentions for It Ain't Me, Babe, and Stay.
Wow. That's horrible. Not so, so I have 2 and an honorable mention. And I already alluded to the honorable mention. My honorable mention is Iris. I think they do a serviceable job on Iris. But the other 2 songs I would actually say I like. The Promise, I will actually go as far as to say I think this version of The Promise is better than the original version of The Promise. And I love the original version of The Promise. Yeah, I love the When in Rome version. I like how it was used in Napoleon Dynamite.
Is that where it's from?
That's where it's from. As the closing credits is like, they're doing a thing, and Pedro won the election. Spoiler alert: Pedro wins the election, and he starts playing tetherball with the girl, and and they're playing it and they're hitting it back and forth, and then the music starts, and then the credits roll up until like the bonus scene, which is a great fucking bonus scene.
I've only seen that once. So
okay, all right, definitely go back. It's one of the best bonus scenes in a movie ever. But I will say their version, like when I heard it, I was like, fuck, this is actually really good. And I listened to it a couple times. I'm like, I think this might actually be better than the original version. So I'll give them credit for that. King of Wishful Thinking is the other one that I like. I will say it's a solid version. Rhythm section, fucking completely in sync throughout that whole song. And that was one of the things that really popped up and stood out to me, was like how in sync the drums and the bass are on that, and just the version they did, excuse me, is a very, very, very good version of it. So what are your least?
I'll circle back to that one.
Wait, you'll circle back to it?
I will.
Okay.
Because I thought I didn't realize that they had this many guest vocalists on the album until after I looked up the factoids.
Okay.
And then I listened to it full through another 2 times after I looked up the factoids, and I was able to pick up in The Promise where Chris Carrabba was singing. I was able to pick up in King of Wishful Thinking where it was Patrick Stump.
Okay.
I thought it was cool that the two of my top songs feature people from bands that I ended up liking as I got older. I didn't realize were there.
Yeah, no, that's cool. It's funny that you could pick them up, because I couldn't, except for like I picked up Lisa Loeb, and I knew there was a female voice on It Ain't Me, Babe.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I really didn't pick up that there were like guest singers, to be honest.
No, I originally didn't, but like after knowing, like, all right, well, Chris Carrabba's in this one, then I was specifically listening for, all right, where's the part that it sounds like Dashboard Confessional?
Okay.
And like the harmonies in King of Wishful Thinking actually sound very similar to Fall Out Boy.
Okay.
And how they're like, some of their songs feature them.
Okay. Cool.
But, yeah.
Cool.
Weird little random thought.
Nice.
My bottom, for obviously stated reasons, was La Fool.
Okay. All right. No, that's respectable. So, all right. So my least, I actually have 2 least and a dishonorable mention.
Of course you do.
My first least is Kiss Me.
Uh-huh.
Fucking worst version of that song I've ever heard in my life. And when it started, like, too, I was just like, oh my God, they're destroying this song. Like you and I play a better version of that song than they do. You know what I mean?
When you accidentally start playing their version?
I know, that's the thing that got fucked up. We're like playing the other night, and we're doing Kiss Me, and I so what happened was I screwed up. I don't know if you realized that. Maybe you did. I don't know.
Something seemed a little off.
I screwed up playing in the bridge. I was like, fuck. And I went to go back in. I'm like, no, I'm starting to play the New Found Glory version. Cause because I've been listening to it. I'm like, fuck, no. And I put it together, cause it's not really that. They just do it faster, but it's just like, oh God. But no, worst version of that song I've ever fucking heard in my life. Don't You Forget About Me. Oh no, I have 3 dislikes. I'm sorry. Don't You Forget About Me, their version, I just barf. Like, I'm just like, dude, this isn't good. This isn't a good version. This does not hold up to the original. It's not like, and I'm trying to separate the fact of like how I feel about the original song personally to what they did. And it's just not good. It's not fun. It's not funny. It's not good. It's not good. I don't like it.
Did you not like the original?
Oh, I love the original.
Oh.
I love the original, and I think they did a horrible rendition of it. No, and my number 3 least favorite. I have 3 least favorites and a dishonorable mention. It Ain't Me, Babe.
I thought that one was cool.
No, version. I did not like the little like fucking electric banjo thing they do in the middle. Oh. And I fucking hate it. I hate it because it was a great scene in the movie, and they fucking ruined it when they do the baby, baby, baby thing at the end. In the movie Walk the Line, that whole scene is done so fucking well. And that moment, and Reese Witherspoon, baby, 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 like telling off Johnny Cash is just fucking good. And it's just great. And it's a great scene. And then they do that thing. I'm like, you just fucking cheapen the moment. Like, you cheapen the moment of the movie and how good of a scene that is, and the way that she does. Do you see something behind me? Oh, okay. I thought you were looking behind me.
No,
I thought
I spaced out.
Oh, okay. No, it's cool. It's cool.
I was like actively listening, but also spaced out.
I was like, is Modest the Mouse behind me?
No, well, shockingly, no. But I'm struggling as you're talking about this because the only way my brain visualizes Reese Witherspoon is as Legally Blonde.
You know what? That's fair. I can't even.
Like you're talking about her in this movie about Johnny Cash, and I'm still trying to put Joaquin Phoenix in anything other than the Joker at the same time. But it's just like, oh, what? Like, it's hard? And that's not okay. The right context for her in this case.
I generally, when I go to Reese Witherspoon, I actually go to Sweet Home Alabama Reese Witherspoon. That's usually my first reference to Reese Witherspoon. followed by Cruel Intentions, Reese Witherspoon. But then June Carter, Reese Witherspoon kind of works too for Walk the Line.
Yeah.
So, but no, I get the Legally Blonde Reese Witherspoon. I get that. I totally respect that. That someone would put that together there.
Yeah. Like, even listening to the movie recording, it's I just picture in like the little pink skirt.
Right. And okay.
That it doesn't fit. She doesn't belong there like that.
Right. Okay. So I do have my dishonorable mention, and that is "Stay, I Miss You." That's a horrible version too, and then to have the original singer on such a bad version of it too. And the cool thing about that was the story behind that. So she was not signed to a major label at that time, and then I guess I don't know if it was the writer or director of Reality Bites heard the song or whatever, and he's like, I want this on my movie soundtrack, and made it the main song for the soundtrack of Reality Bites. And basically they made a video for it and all that kind of shit, and she very much took off as an independent artist by doing that and doing it without major label backing. So I respect it. I also have a little, I think I've told this story before on the podcast, but I'm going to tell it again. I have a little friend of the podcast, John Byrne from John Byrne Band. He was on the Pogues episode of season 1. Got the opportunity to open up for Lisa Loeb.
I vaguely remember hearing this.
Yeah, and I knew he was doing it, and I sent him a message. I was like, "Yo, dude, steal Lisa Loeb's glasses. I want her glasses." and he's just like, "I can't steal her glasses." I'm like, "Steal her fucking glasses, man." He's like, "How's she going to see?" I'm like, "I don't care. I want Lisa Loeb's glasses." Apparently, he was talking to her as I was texting him.
Oh my goodness! That's terrible.
Yeah, so it was pretty good. Yeah, so. But yeah, no, and now she does like kids music too. It's pretty crazy. Although none of it's popped up for Regina. So, but that's okay. That's all right. So yes, not really a fan of this album. When I have that many dislikes and dishonorable mentions, it's not good. It's not good. Discogs value. So I ran into an issue. This is the first issue we've run into for Discogs value.
Does it not exist?
Well, it exists, right? But it doesn't exist on Discogs. There is not only no versions of this on vinyl for sale on Discogs. They only list one version at all. Well, they list CD versions of it, but they only list one vinyl version, but it's an unofficial release with absolutely no sales history, nothing like that, all this kind of stuff. So what I ended up doing was, by putting this in, I'm actually getting the average value for the listeners based off of 5 CDs, and based on a Google search, there is Drive Through Records apparently did or does have a vinyl version of this, but I think it's a little bit incomplete. I don't know if this is what the unofficial release is. I don't know who Drive Through Records is, but if you go to drivethroughrecords.com, or if you just do a Google search of Newfound Glory with the name, the whole title, which I don't feel like saying right now. This will pop up as one of the things that's available. And I noticed some Reddit threads about it too. But they did like a couple different versions that I did see. But again, we're going based on the Discogs value. But what I did was, usually when we're doing this, for the listeners and for the Booze and Vinyl, we're getting an average. So I try to get 5 different pressings and go with their things. So there are only 4 CD pressings, so I did put those down for the very good plus value, and I'm going off of the value of the one version of vinyl that I found on the website. Okay. Now here's where it gets weird, is like, technically we're doing it based on very good plus, so the value would be lower than a mint condition copy. However, it's a special colored pressing, so if it was there, even a very good plus could be more, you know what I mean? So I am giving it its brand new factory sealed, manufacturer sales, price of $33 for the record itself. And then the other 4 I did CDs, which is a US pressing, a South African pressing, a UK pressing, and a Japan pressing, going anywhere from $7 to $14 on those CD pressings.
Which are usually cheaper than vinyl, I think.
Exactly. Which is the other reason why I don't feel bad about like putting the full, brand new factory sale value of the record that I could find online for it. But that brings the average very good plus value of this album for the listeners at $14, which I think might be the lowest of all the listeners' values throughout season 2 here. So that brings the listeners, their complete total. You will not, the listeners, you specifically, Megan, as you represent, will not be getting the big D.
Damn.
Because the listeners have $585. Your average of your 10 albums is $58.50 per album. You are technically off the lead by $238, which I am in at $823. Adam, who has an album left, is at $522. He's at a negative 301. And Tom, who has like 3 albums left, is at $511 and is at a negative of $312. So my bold predictions, and I'm really probably not so bold, is that I think Adam's going to finish dead last, and I think Tom's going to come possibly close to a second place of the Big D if he doesn't unseat me. Unthrone me, I guess, right now. Dethrone. Thank you. There you go. All right.
And I don't even teach English.
There you go. All right. So let me get the box of Mike. All right. Here, hold this guy.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yes, you're welcome. That is Michael Stripe.
Oh, wait. I forgot.
What?
Somebody's going to yell at me if I don't explain this.
Okay.
I think it's probably going to be Tom. On a scale of 10, this would be an 8. However, if we are counting how many pilots it is, it's 16.8 pilots.
16.8 pilots? 16.8 pilots? Okay. All right.
Pilots.
Remember, you're going to have to do that again for the Gen Z.
Yes, I'm aware.
All right.
So we have envelope number, thank you. Envelope number 15. I'm going to open this like a normal civilized human.
Thank you. We appreciate that. That's actually why Adam hasn't been here. Because
you got fired from opening envelopes?
No, he's at envelope rehab. Where it's like, they like he goes and he has to like open them the right way, but he can't do it. He keeps relapsing to the old way. Like right when they think he has it, he rips it off the side. They're like, "Oh God, back to the beginning with you."
Listen, as long as he's not licking the glue.
There you go.
I heard that could kill a person.
Oh, that was on Seinfeld.
It was.
Yes.
Well, we are filming this on Festivus.
Yeah, we are. Okay, there you go.
Cool. So our next episode will be The Who's Next.
Oh.
It appears to be a Booze and Vinyl.
It is. What is that? Volume 2?
Volume 2. Grab that. Page 10.
Thank you. All right. Booze and Vinyl, Volume 2.
I love you're using a sticker as the bookmark.
Yes, absolutely. Let me see. Page 10, we said. That's after 9, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
And before 11.
Okay, cool. Somewhere in the middle. So, all right. The Who's Next? Booze and Vinyl, Volume 2 by Andre Darlington, best fucking friend of the podcast, Andre Darlington and his sister, Tanaya Darlington. Got a couple drinks that I believe we'll be doing here. These should be interesting. Ooh, these should be very interesting drinks. Yeah, that's going to be fun. I think that's going to be a good time. And, we'll be doing it with Tom. We've been doing a lot of these remote lately. Megan's actually been really the only person in the Ottsville Record Garage the last couple episodes.
Yeah, I'm cool like that.
Yeah, there you go.
I show up to things.
There you go. Oh, no, actually, other people would show up too. They haven't necessarily been invited. So, yeah.
So that makes me even cooler that I'm actually invited.
There you go. All right. So, that is all I have. I don't know. Do you have anything else on this?
Listen to the album and form your own opinions.
That is great. I actually don't listen to this album. It was pretty bad. It was pretty horrible. I didn't like it. So.
Well, even better than listen to the album, go watch the movies the songs are from.
That's true. Yeah, we didn't get into that, did we?
Yeah,
and I'm okay with
really.
that. Yeah, we got into some of them, but we don't need to go through
a couple.
Yeah.
And the kids are gonna go look up the rest for me, I'm sure, because they want their merit points.
There you go.
Whatever things they can redeem them for.
There you go. And the other thing they got to get her to say.
No, it's not.
Yeah. All right.
No. Mm-hmm. But if you do check out the movies, you should also check out and see if there's an episode of Summer Movie Club that are about them. That would be kind of cool.
I think they probably cover some of those.
Probably.
I'd say probably. Yeah, friend of the podcast, Summer Movie Club. I'm pretty sure at least one of them I know that they cover. But yeah, I'd have to look at it again more extensively. So so go check out Summer Movie Club, which is kind of Adam's other woman, but not really because they don't do anything. So, all right. So you're good? You got nothing else?
Yeah.
All right. I am good too. On that note, it is time to...